Hi everyone, today I want to give you a few tips and tricks for helping to remember your minor key signatures, both writing them and identifying them. So not a full explanation of kind of where all these come from, but just a few, hopefully shortcuts to help get you there. 3 different ways for you to think about it. And the first one is this. The sixth note of any major scale is its relative minor key. The sixth note of any major scale is its relative minor key. That means it's the minor scale that shares the same key signature. So if you look here, what I have written out is the B flat major scale. 2 flats, B to B, B flat major. If I count to the sixth note, I get G over here. That means G minor and B flat major share the key signature of 2 flats, or we would say they're relative keys. B flat major and G minor share 2 flats as their key signature. Or if you went from G to G with 2 flats in the key signature, that will give you a G natural minor scale. But this is talking about key signatures now. Sixth note of any major scale is its relative minor. So let's look at the next one in bass clef here. E major scale, 4 sharps, E to E. The sixth note is going to be here, C sharp. So that means E major, 4 sharps, shares a key signature with its relative minor, C sharp minor. Now, how can you use this fact to your advantage? If you're trying to label a minor key signature, then what you could first do is identify what major key it is, because hopefully if you're watching this, you're already familiar with major keys and you're looking to get faster at minor keys. So let's look at this first example. 2 sharps. The major key that would be 2 sharps is D major. Remember, up a half step from the last sharp is the key, so D major. Now, if I want to know 2 sharps is what minor key, I would need to ask myself, what is the sixth note of D major? What is the sixth note of D major? And that would be the minor key that shares 2 sharps. So, just memorizing all the notes of those major scales really is going to help you, not just with key signatures, but pretty much everything in music theory. So I know the D major scale has 2 sharps. So if I go to sixth note, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, the sixth note is B. That means from a minor key, this is B minor. Okay, so that's what we're trying to answer here. And note that when I'm referring to minor keys, I write the letters lowercase, and when I'm referring to major keys, I write the letters uppercase. You're going to want to get in the habit of doing that. Okay, so using that trick of identifying the major key first, and then asking yourself what the sixth note of that major key is, and then labeling the minor key with that note, why don't you do these next 3 examples? Pause the video and then we'll go over it. Okay, so the next one is 3 flats. The major key that's 3 flats would be E flat major. Remember, second to last flat is the key. All right, to figure out the minor key, I want to know what is the sixth note of E flat major, sixth note of the E flat major scale. So if you count from E up, thinking of the flats in this key, you get C. So that means C minor. That means that E flat major and C minor are relative keys. They're a major key and a minor key that share a set of accidentals. Next, 1 sharp, that's going to be the major key of G. Remember, up a half step from the last sharp is the key. And the minor key then would be, what is the sixth note of G major? G, A, B, C, D, E. E minor. Okay, now you got 1 flat. That's F major. Major key would be F. Minor key then, the answer is, what is the sixth note of F major? The answer is D minor. So there's one way for you to think for identifying, but how can you do this to write minor keys? Because we got to be able to do that also. So if I wanted you to write F minor, how could you use this sixth note of the major key is the relative minor fact to help you write it? Well, all you have to do is ask yourself the question in reverse. If the sixth note of any major is its relative minor, then that means I'm giving you the sixth note of some major scale, right? If I'm telling you this is the minor key, then that is the sixth note of some major scale. So the question you need to ask yourself is, if F is the sixth note, what major scale? If F is the sixth note, what major scale are we talking about? F is the sixth note of what major scale? Or if F is La, if you like to think solfege, then what's do? And that will give you the answer. So again, it comes down to memorizing all your major key signatures and all of your major scales. Okay, if F is La, Do is A flat. Do is A flat. So now what I do is I write the key for A flat major, which I start writing flats until I get to A flat and write one more. Then that's the key that shares it. So when I give you the minor key to write, you have to say that note is the sixth note of what major scale. Like, so you're going to, when you do these three, think C sharp is the sixth note of what major scale and write that major key. A is the sixth note of what major scale and write that key. B flat is the sixth note of what major scale and write that key, and they'll line up. Okay, try those three. So C sharp is the sixth note of E major. So that means I'm going to write 4 sharps. That's the key signature for C sharp minor. It's also the key signature for E major. Next one. A is the sixth note of what major scale? Or if A is La, what's Do? Well, the answer is C. And the key signature for C major is nothing. So we're already done with that one. And B flat. B flat is the sixth note of what major scale? Well, the answer there, or if B flat's La, what's Do? The answer there is D flat, key of D flat major. So that means I write to D flat. Remember, to write a major key, you start writing flats in the order of flats until you get to the one you're trying to write. There's D flat, and then you go one more. So B, E, A, D, and then G. All right, so that's how you use that trick. Now, another trick, which is really just kind of another way of thinking about what we just did, is to think that the major keys and the minor keys are always separated by a distance of 3 half steps. And also what I just said about the solfege works here too. If a major key is Do, then a minor key is La. Thinking about that will give you the same answer. So a major key and a minor key are always 3 half steps apart, and the major key can always be represented by Do, and the minor key can always be represented by La. All right, how do we use this fact to help us then? So say I wanted you to write the key of E flat minor. Well, I'm giving you a minor key, right? I'm giving you the minor key. If the minor key is E flat, the major key will be 3 half steps up from E flat, right? Could go to minor from major, we go up 3 half steps. So your knowledge of the piano keyboard and like either having one out or a picture of one or your mental image of the piano keyboard is really important. Because if I go up 3 half steps from E flat, E flat to E is 1, E to F is 1, and then F to, do I call that F sharp or G flat? I'm going to have to call it G flat because I know that this is a flat key signature. And now what I do is I write the key signature for G flat because I determined if E flat's La, then G flat is Do. So for G flat, we go write flats until I get to G flat and write one more. So E flat minor, G flat major, relative keys, they share the key signature with 6 flats. Okay, so for D minor, if D is the minor key, up 3 half steps from that, D to E flat to E to F, F major, don't have to worry about an enharmonic there, 1 flat. Okay, now identifying those using this major minor 3 half step thing. First, identify the major key, because I'm assuming you're going to be faster at that, and then go down 3 half steps, and that will give you the minor key. So the major key here for 5 flats, remember the second last flat is the key for major. The major key is D flat. Down 3 half steps from D flat, or if D flat's Do, what's La? That will give you B flat minor. So that's the answer that we're after. Next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the sharps. So what major key has all the sharps? C sharp major. If C sharp is the major key, and I want the minor key, I go down 3 half steps from C sharp. That would give me B flat, but B flat minor is not going to be a key with 7 sharps in it. So let's go ahead and call that A sharp. C sharp major, A sharp minor share key signature. You see, I'm kind of all talking about the same thing. It's just different ways to conceptualize it. All right, so one last little trick for you. And again, this comes down to knowing your major keys. I can't really help you with minor keys if you don't know your major keys. So here's the trick. A major key plus 3 flats equals what we call its parallel minor. So the relative minor were 2 keys that shared the same key signature, right? Like B flat major, G minor, both shared 2 flats. A parallel key means they have the same letter, D major, D minor, F major, F minor, B flat major, B flat minor. They don't share the same set of accidentals. They share the same starting note, what we call the tonic. So here's a good way to do that. If I wrote the major key, let me write the major key for each one of these first, which I already know. C major is done. F major, 1 flat. D major, 2 sharps. B major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sharps. Okay, I wrote the major keys, but the question wants the minor keys. A major key plus 3 flats equals the parallel minor. So all I do is add 3 flats in the order of flats, and then I will get my answer. Okay, so there was nothing here for C. So add 3 flats means just put the first 3 flats. B, E, A. That's C minor. I added 3 flats to nothing. I got 3 flats. Okay. For F minor, if F major is 1 flat, I add 3 more in the order of flats. I already have B, so that means I'm going to go E, A, D. That's F minor, 4 flats, adding 3 flats. Okay, now what does this mean here about D major? How do I add 3 flats to a key that has 2 sharps? Adding a flat is the same thing as removing a sharp. So if I want to add 3 flats, I would go 1 to erase the C sharp, 2 to erase the F sharp, and then 3 will be to add 1 flat back. Okay, what about B major? 5 sharps. To make it B minor, I add 3 flats to it. That is the equivalent of erasing 3 sharps. So I get rid of this, I get rid of this, I get rid of this. That's B minor. That's a real fast one for writing keys if you are really familiar with your majors. Those are my 3 tricks for the minor keys, writing them and identifying them. So I want to give you just a few more to practice. And these you can do. So there's 3 to identify and 3 to write. So go ahead, pause the video and do those whichever way you want, and I'll give you the answer. Okay, this is key of G major, which means it's E minor. This is the key of D flat major, which means it's B flat minor. Key of A major, which means it's F sharp minor. And to write A sharp minor, the major equivalent is C sharp with all the sharps, F, C, G, D, A, E, and B. G sharp minor is relative to B major, 5 sharps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. E flat minor, that's going to be relative to G flat major, which is 6 flats. 4, 5, 6. Okay, there you go. Some tips and tricks for minor keys.